All right, everybody, we are back again. We have chapter 28 in A Child's History of the World. The title is When Greek Meets Greek. Probably more war, but at least it's not with Persia this time. Okay, you ready, Lily? Mm-hmm. All right, I need you to sit up, though. We don't lay on the dining table. All right, the Golden Age, when Athens was so wonderful, lasted for only 50 years. Why do you suppose? Did it stop at all? What do you think, Lily? Mm-hmm. Why do you think that there's no longer a golden age? Well, we already talked about that having a plague, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think Greek meets Greek means? Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe that is going to be war? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It stopped chiefly because of a fight. This time, however, the fight was not between Greece and someone outside, as in the Persian Wars. The fight was between two cities that had before this been more or less friendly, mostly less, between Sparta and Athens. I don't know about y'all, but my money's on the Spartans. It was a family quarrel between Greeks. The fight was all because of these cities. Sparta was jealous of Athens. The Spartans, as you know, were fine soldiers. The Athenians were fine soldiers too. But ever since Themistocles, had beaten the Persians at Salamis with the ships he had built, Athens had had a fine fleet as well, and Sparta had no fleet. Furthermore, Athens had become the most beautiful and most cultured city in the whole world. Sparta did not much care about Athens' beautiful buildings and her education and culture and all that sort of thing. That did not interest Sparta. What did make Sparta jealous was Athens' fleet. Do you know what a fleet is, Lily?
Yeah.
What's a fleet?
A whole bunch of people.
No, that's an army. A fleet is a whole bunch of ships, like water ships, battleships. Oh. Sparta was inland. Do you know what inland means?
What?
Inland means not near the shore, not near the water, not near the beach. Okay, so Sparta was inland, not on or near the seashore as Athens was. Athens was near the seashore, which is why they had such an amazing fleet. So Sparta could not have a fleet at all. That city did not intend, however, to let Athens get ahead. Imagine that.
What? Why aren't we sitting on the couch like we normally do?
Well, because Mama is just sitting here today. Therefore, on one excuse or another, Sparta, with all its neighbors, started a war against Athens with all of its neighbors. Hey, you're supposed to be listening.
I am.
No, you're not if you're over there. Get your booty over here. Crazy girl. Sparta was in a part of Greece that was called by the hard name, the Peloponnesus. Peloponnesus. I bet you could tell what these wars are going to be called. The Peloponnesian Wars. In those days, people did not think this is a hard name, for they were as familiar with it as you are with such names as Massachusetts, for instance, which would have seemed just as hard to a Greek as Peloponnesus does to you. This war between Athens and Sparta was therefore called the Peloponnesian War. Can you say that?
Peloponnesian War.
Not Peloponnesian. We're not talking about like frozen stuff. We're talking Peloponnesian with a P. Okay, I need you to sit up here because the dog's bugging you. Get up here.
But I want the big jump.
I don't care.
But I want the big jump.
I won't say it again.
I have an idea, like I did yesterday.
Okay, so the war between Athens and Sparta was therefore called the Peloponnesian War, from the fact that it was not only Sparta, but all of the Peloponnesus that fought against Athens. Dude, no. Get up here now.
I am.
One. 2.
I'm putting the beanbag back.
All right. We think a war lasts entirely too long if it lasts 4 or 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can you guess how long the Peloponnesian War lasted?
100.
No. 27 years. That's a whole lot, isn't it? There's a saying, when Greek meets Greek, then comes a tug of war, the tug of war, which means to say, when two equal fighters such as Athens and Sparta, both Greeks, meet in battle, who knows how it will end. I'm not doing that right now. No.
Like this.
Look at me. I need you to stop. I need you to behave. And I need you to listen today. Thank you. I'm not going to tell you about all the battles that took place during these 27-year war. But at the end of this long and bloody war, both cities were tired and worn out, and the glory of Athens was gone. Although Sparta was ahead, neither city ever amounted to much afterward. The Peloponnesian War ruined both Sparta and Athens, the way that war does, huh? Yeah. Use up all your resources and, your cities are going to be kind of crummy.
Mm-hmm.
All during the Peloponnesian War, there was a man in Athens by the name of Socrates, who, many think, was the wisest and best of men who ever lived. Hey, don't pull on the tablecloth. He was called a philosopher. Remember, philosopher, philosophia, means the lover of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And went about the city teaching the people what was right and what they ought to do. But instead of actually telling the people what he thought was right, he asked them questions, which made them see what is right. It's kind of the way I feel like I correct you guys, right? Ask you questions to have you figure out on your own what's correct. Yeah, most parents do. In this way, good Lord. In this way, chiefly by asking questions, he led people to find out for themselves what he wanted them to know. This kind of teaching, simply by asking questions, has ever since been called Socratic, after Socrates. You have a Socratic seminar sometimes at school, don't you? Oh, Noah does. So does Keeney. Socrates had a snub nose and was bald and quite ugly. And yet, he was very popular with the Athenians, which may seem strange, for the Athenians loved beautiful faces and beautiful figures and beautiful things. And Socrates was anything but beautiful. Poor guy. It must have been the beauty of Socrates' character that made them forget his ugliness. As I know some boys and girls who think their teacher is perfectly beautiful and just because she is so good and kind, they love her, although she's really not pretty at all. That's kind of messed up too. Socrates had a wife named Xantippe. Xantippe, interesting. She had a bad temper and was the worst kind of grouch. She thought Socrates was wasting his time, that he was a loafer, and as he did no work that brought in any money. One day she scolded him so loudly that he left the house, whereupon she threw a bucket of water on him. That ain't cool. Socrates, who never answered back, merely remarked to himself, "After thunder, rain may be expected." Socrates didn't believe in all the Greek gods, Zeus, Aphrodite, and the rest, but he was careful not to say so himself, for the Greeks were very particular that no one should say or do anything against the gods. Phidias, you remember, was thrown in prison for merely putting his picture on the shield of the goddess Athena, and one would have been put to death for teaching young men not to believe in the gods. At last, however, Socrates, as he feared he would be, was charged with not believing in the Greek gods and with teaching others not to believe in them. For this, he was condemned to death. He was ordered to drink a cup of hemlock, which was a deadly poison. Socrates' pupils, or disciples, students, as they were called then, tried to have him refuse to drink the cup, but he would not disobey the order. And so, when he was nearly 70 years old, with all his disciples around him, he drank the cup of hemlock and died. Anyway, let's see what we got. Although Socrates lived many hundreds of years ago, he believed and taught some of the things that people believe also today. One of these things he believed was that each of us has inside a conscience, which tells us what is right and what is wrong. We don't have to read from a book or be told by anyone what is right or what is wrong. Another thing he taught was that there is life after death, and that when we die, our souls live on. No wonder he was not afraid himself to die. Well, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. It's Thursday for us, so tomorrow's Friday. Yay! Ta-ta for now. Bye.